All started when I had some injuries due to an accident. I don't want to trigger anyone by talking about that here, so just suffice it to say I was in pain. And while I was being treated, my doctor ordered an MRI. So when the MRI came back, it found that I had a tumor, a large tumor. So I went to my other doctor and they did some testing and, measured the tumor and so forth and said, you need to go to this particular doctor to have the tumor removed. And they also did a hysterectomy at the time. So that was a tough surgery. Meanwhile, I was still having pain from the injuries that I already had. So it was huge. That's all I heard about it. Every person who came to my room after the surgery, or any nurses, the doctor, everyone said it was huge. But it was good that it was gone and there was no cancer. So that was good. Meanwhile, the pain continued. But it was a major surgery. So I was still having the injury pain. And I was still working at that time. I was still working full time. And of course, I took a couple of months off when I had that surgery. But it got so painful that I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just so painful. I would be in tears or close to tears while I was at work. And just walking or moving my arm or just regular walking was painful, with stabbing pains or sometimes like a terrible achy pain. And also ended up having pain all over from head to toe. So, and you're scared at that point. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if you're ever gonna be able to carry on like you used to do. So, I put in my 2 weeks notice and left my job. I just couldn't continue. I just continued to do it. It was just too much pain. Fortunately, I had savings at the time, so I was able to pay bills and carry on with my savings. Can't say enough for saving money and putting it away. So, after that first surgery, I went to my first doctor said he couldn't do anything more for me, and so I went to another doctor. I went to a pain doctor, and he did some prescriptions. He prescribed things, and I also had injections, steroids, injections. I don't even know how many, and it was okay for a very short time. It didn't last. The pain, if it went away at all, it didn't go away for very long. So, and that took months. And meanwhile, I was having physical therapy at the same time. So a lot of physical therapy. And then my favorite physical therapist moved to a different office. So I said, that one's closer to my house. Can I go to that one too? So I did, and continued on with her for quite a while. Lauren. So, as all this was going on, the panoramic started. So, you had to wear a mask in the physical therapy office. You had to, wear masks everywhere pretty much. And so, and it was difficult to get appointments sometimes because they could only have so many people, like even in their waiting rooms. So, it was difficult. It just was a very slow moving process. Meanwhile, I think the injections in my spine were happening periodically. They couldn't do them all at once. They had to wait to see if it worked or not, which basically it was not. So at this time, I was also having, like I said, pain from head to toe, just aching, miserable pain, and some other weird symptoms. And I was then diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So I was trying to go through all of this, getting medication for the fibromyalgia. Thank goodness for that. which I gained weight. So I had the fibromyalgia, the nerve pain, then the pandemic at the same time. So it was difficult. I didn't go. So then finally I was sent to another doctor because that doctor couldn't do anything anymore. He'd done all the injections he could do. In fact, he'd done too many, he said. There's only a certain amount that a person can have, and he had already done too many without realizing it. So sent me to a neurosurgeon, and that took a while and of course the pandemic is still going on, and that doctor did a surgery on my back. So that was a long recovery there. I was relieved and grateful to have that surgery, but it was a long recovery. And I didn't realize you can't just sit up straight. You have to roll over and then sit up, and you have to go through a whole process. So that was quite a recovery there, but I was doing better after that. Now that surgery wasn't a huge surgery, but it did help. Meanwhile, I'm still having physical therapy, and when I had that surgery, my daughter-in-law was so helpful. She went with me. It was hundreds of miles away to where the surgery center was, and so she went with me. She did my nails while I was laying there half asleep afterwards, and she was just a living doll. So that was wonderful, and I'm so thankful for her. And of course, as I said, I was recovering. The depression was setting in. I was afraid, like I said, I was afraid that, am I ever going to be able to walk without pain? Am I ever going to be able to lift anything without pain? And then also the pain there was no rhyme or reason to it. Odd, weird. Anyway, and then eventually I had another surgery. I don't want to get gruesome, but I had surgery on my spine, up here, and that one was brutal. And again, my daughter-in-law was there to help me. She was awesome again. Twice. She wasn't even my daughter-in-law at that time. She is now, but she wasn't at that time. So that surgery was very difficult, and I could barely talk. My vocal cords were, probably a little injured during that surgery, and I remember our Wi-Fi went out, and so I had to call the Wi-Fi people and ask them, please come and fix this. It actually went out before I went for the surgery, but so I couldn't be here when they came to fix the Wi-Fi. So I had to call up on the phone, but I could barely talk, and they couldn't hear me. So they were hanging up on me because I couldn't get them to hear what I was saying. So finally I said, please don't hang up. Please, I just had surgery, so that's why I'm talking like this. So please come and fix my Wi-Fi. So finally they did, but it took me like quite a few tries to even just get in touch with them so they could hear me. But it was, once I got the Wi-Fi back, it was better, but I did a lot of sleeping, and that was okay, because that's when you're healing, when you're resting. So during this time, once they got the Wi-Fi fixed, I was resting and recovering and watching a lot of YouTube. I watched YouTube, and I still do. About 5 years later now, I still watch YouTube exclusively. But, I loved the YouTube. Oh my gosh, it was like a whole new world opened up to me. I just loved it. And I watched it 24/7, just about. I would wake up and watch some YouTube, fall back asleep, wake up again, watch some more YouTube. It was wonderful. That part was wonderful, watching YouTube. I started out with the crafters, until I realized there were a whole lot of other things to watch on YouTube. But I just loved it, and I still do. Love me some YouTube. I watched everything on YouTube, and still do, except gaming. I'm not really into the gaming, but to each his own. So finally, it took a long time, but finally I began to recover and watched YouTube. I bought an exercise bike. Now still, my spine is not perfect in my back, so I still have occasional pain. So walking is not the best exercise for me. So I realized that walking just wasn't the best thing for me to be doing. Although I can walk now, that's good. But I bought an exercise bike. I don't think you can see it. It's over there. Didn't have room for it in the house, but it's over there in the living room, right where I can see the television while I'm watching YouTube. So I don't ride it very much. The seat was so hard, but I put a pillow on there, and now I can ride it for longer without being uncomfortable. So I'm as healed from the surgeries as I will ever be. Still have some numbness, and from the injections and from the first surgery. And I still have the fibromyalgia, of course. I will always have that. It will never go away. It's one of those things that they say, you won't die from it, but you'll die with it. It's not a fatal thing. It's just an ongoing chronic thing. So I'm still watching YouTube, and then how I made a full recovery was I started my YouTube channel. And I've always loved YouTube ever since I started watching it. And I've always loved encouraging people and, giving people inspiration when they needed it. I don't enjoy when people are having a rough time, but I do enjoy trying to help people. And that's my goal. I think that's what I was meant to do in my whole life. So I love this YouTube channel, and I'm so happy that I started it. It's just been fun for me. I enjoy it. I enjoy the filming. I enjoy setting up the camera, hopefully getting the lighting right. So I had a clear plan for my YouTube channel before I started it. And as I said, I had been studying YouTube for a few years as I was recovering. So I had a clear plan, and in fact, I had actually filmed some videos or parts of videos so that I could use them once I started the channel. But then, you know what? Those are not very good. I think you saw the one was the ones nobody watches. The ones nobody watches, the ones in the very beginning. And I hopefully will, I'm getting better already. But I had a clear plan to be all about being the queen, and everyone here is a queen, and I love that. I love that thought. I love treating yourself right and encouraging people to do that. So, yes, I want to thank all the new subscribers. Thank you so much. You are wonderful. Thank you for subscribing and watching the videos. I so much appreciate that. I can't even explain. Here's a video here you might want to see, and one over here too. There's two videos that I know you'll love and enjoy. So anyway, the most important thing is don't forget to love yourself. Love ya!